is Traversing the Strange World with Peace and Toodles.
Alright, episode 2.
Alright, let's get rolling. We're going to read a poem by Khalil Gibran. It's a poem that my brother Noah introduced me to a couple months ago. And it's on the subject of work. It's called On Work by Khalil Gibran. Then a plowman said, "Speak to us of work." And he answered, saying, "You work that you may keep pace with the earth and the soul of the earth. For to be idle is to become a stranger unto the seasons and to step out of life's procession that marches in majesty and proud submission towards the infinite. When you work, you are a flute whose heart the whispering of the hours turns to music. Which of you would be at reed, dumb and silent, when all else sings together in unison? Always you have been told that work is curse and labor a misfortune. But I say to you, when you work, you fulfill a part of earth's furthest dream assigned to you when the dream was born. And in keeping yourself with labor, you are in truth loving life. And to love life through labor is to be intimate with life's inmost secret. But if you in your pain call birth an affliction, and the support of the flesh a curse written upon your brow, and I answered that not, but the sweat of your brow shall wash away that which is written. You have been told also that life is darkness, and in your weariness you echo what was said by the weary. And I say that life is indeed darkness, save when there is urge. And all urge is blind, save when there is knowledge. And knowledge is vain, save when there is work. And all work is empty, save when there is love. And when you work with love, you bind yourself to yourself and to one another and to God. And what is it to work with love? It is to weave the cloth with threads drawn from your heart, even as if your beloved were to wear that cloth. It is to build a house with affection, even as if your beloved were to dwell in that house. It is to sow seeds with tenderness and reap the harvest with joy, even as if your beloved were to eat the fruit. It is to charge all things you fashion with the breath of your own spirit, and to know that all the blessed dead are standing about you and watching. Often I have heard you say, as if speaking in sleep, "He who works in marble and finds the shape of his own soul in the stone is nobler than he who plows the soil. But he who seizes the rainbow to lay it on a cloth in the likeness of man is more than he who makes the sandals for our feet. But I say, not in sleep, but in overwakefulness of noontide, that the wind speaks not more sweetly to the giant oaks than to the one of all the least of these blades of grass. And he alone is great who turns the voice of the wind into a song made sweeter by his own loving. Work is love made visible. And if you cannot work with love, but only with distaste, it is better that you shall leave your work and sit at the gate of the temple and take alms for those who work with joy. For if you bake bread with indifference, you bake a bitter bread that feeds but half a man's hunger. And if you grudge the crushing of the grapes, and your grudge distills a poison in the wine, and if you sing as though angels in love, not the singing, you muffle man's ears to the voices of the day and the voices of the night."
It's beautiful. That's work ethic. Work ethic. And if you cannot work with love but only with distaste, it is better that you should leave your work and sit at the gate of the temple and take alms of those who do work with joy. It's an unjoyful life if you don't work with love, basically. The premise of that. Finding purpose in what you do.
And to ingrain yourself into that.
Is that what motivates you? Has this poem been part of your journey? Or did you recently find it?
Like I said, my brother Noah introduced me to it a couple months ago. And he knows me. I think he shared it with me as he knows that I'm the type of person that does take, I have my own business, so I take my work seriously. And, sometimes going through the motions, chasing after the dream, the big goal, sometimes it becomes more of a route to take to a destination than an experience. And I think that's part of what working with love is, and part of the mentality that he talks about in this poem. It's the man who loves walking will go farther than the man who loves the destination. You have to love the process.
Kind of jumped right into that, but I agree. It's a lot easier to stay motivated during those bad seasons too. Slow business or poor mental health, low motivation.
But what about,
you need a purpose?
What do we do when that happens? We can't stop working, even though we burn out. Because I think that's part of that. That's all part of the journey. That's part of chasing after a dream. Is sometimes the dream, it doesn't die, but it gets refined, reshaped, torn apart.
If you give up when you're facing the difficulties and you make that a habit, you're bound for nothing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You're
sure.
Pussy.
Well, and then again, an aspect of love is commitment, and part of commitment is consistency.
Sometimes it takes getting to the rock bottom to find the purpose too. And you're equally screwed, I guess, if you never learned any lessons of how to shift your perspective into the positive when you're going through those bad times too. That might be the point where you learn to turn your life around and to look for a purpose in what you do. Yeah. Even if you, before that, had no purpose or just no direction, or you didn't know anything. You didn't have any practice or education and mindset or staying motivated or putting one step forward to take the next step. Sometimes hitting the bottom is what it takes to realize, like, man, dude, I have to do something or I'm going nowhere. I'm going to be broke or homeless or worse, and
it's like
you got to do something.
That lose yourself
in the music, in the moment.
Yeah, that energy, that song really brings that energy. Like, it's on the line. There's two paths you can take, forward or backward into the same old stagnant routine.
That's in my gym playlist.
Oh hell yeah! I think it's in everybody's gym playlist. I like this one passage in this poem. You have been told also that life is darkness, and in your weariness you echo what was said by the weary.
In your weariness you echo what was said by the weary.
And life is indeed darkness, save when there's urge. And urge is blind, save when there's knowledge. And knowledge is vain, save when there's work. And all work is empty, save when there's love.
God is love.
And when you work with love, you bind yourself to yourself and to one another and to God.
That was the quote from God is love. What is that, John?
Oh, yeah.
Probably the Gospel of John somewhere, and I can't think of it.
John in general, he really emphasized on love. The Gospel of John and the Epistles of John, 1st and 2nd and 3rd.
And when you work with love, you bind yourself to yourself and to one another and to God, and to love.
One could argue, what does that mean to bind yourself to God?
What made you want to discuss this poem in the first place? Not that I don't like it. It's motivational. It's perspective, positivity.
Not overly positive, though,
No, it's like it's motivational to, do what you do with a purpose. I think we already said that, but to love what you do, that'll bring out obviously the best quality of what you do, and it's a lot easier to stick with it.
And well, so to answer your question, me and you were both very driven, very ambitious. We both have multiple dreams that we're pursuing. And
Muchos sueños.
I think this poem, like, it captures, I feel like a very real aspect of that life, you know, the work and the pursuing. Because, you know, it doesn't leave out the darkness. It's not just flowery and beautiful.
It's better to beg for money from those who do their work with joy than to find no purpose or love in what you do.
You know, and when I hear that, I think about
work is love made
visible. It makes me think about how we have, as far as we know, we just have one life. We only live one life here on this earth. And, you know, so many of us live the same mundane cookie cutter life. And I think over time people become burnout and they become like out of touch and disconnected from their passions. And I think this poem's really about keeping the passion of life alive, you know, and not to let that die, not to, you know, I've seen so many people live their life and grow old. Just, you can tell they're not happy. And at some point in their life, I think that like spark died, you know?
That's a fear of mine. Getting old and looking back and realizing what you wish you would have done.
And regret.
That's probably the single strongest motivator that I have.
Right.
Is like if I'm wasting time doing whatever.
One life.
I always think of that. I'm like, man, dude, if I'm 80, 90, 100, however old, you know, am I going to look back and be like, man, dude, I wish I didn't spend so much time on these stupid things that don't matter, whatever it may be, you know, sitting at home watching TV with my wife when, hey, maybe we could have been working out together or spending more time with the kids at a park or something rather than just sitting around watching a show together. Instead of this video game, I could be making my next song or getting better at one of the hobbies that I have or researching something, reading a book, learning about business or motivation or something.
That's when like faith in your calling does come into play though, you know? Because like sometimes the setting at home watching TV, it is important. It's important for your connection with your spouse, and then it is good for us to take it easy and have rest in like moderation. You know, all things in moderation, both work and rest.
Key word, moderation. It's when it gets out of hand, you know? Like if we sit down and have a family movie night eating pizza or something, you know, and we're all done eating, the one show ends and the next episode comes on. We watch that one and then the next one. It's like, no, at some point you got to take control of what you're doing and say, all right, that's enough. That's, you know.
Not have that be the way you always spend your free time and downtime, you know?
Yeah, I'm not discounting rest at all. It's important. But at the same time, you can't rest and play around too much.
Right.
There's a line where you almost get more depressed knowing what you should be doing, but either procrastinating or just not doing it altogether, ever.
Don't like let wither away your one chance. You like again. You
only had one shot.
You only have one life.
Not
one opportunity to reach into the ether and pull out something beautiful. You know, that's like our time here. As far as we know, it's only once, and there's so much, especially now in this generation, that we can pursue and chase after and make happen with so many of the resources at our fingertips in terms of knowledge, creativity.
You have like all the knowledge of the history of everyone in the world in your freaking pocket, but you doom scroll, you know?
Yeah.
You watch the next TikTok video.
And then if you can take that knowledge and like conduit into like a life philosophy that leads towards something orderly and something good.
What's your favorite Eminem song?
My favorite Eminem song?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm leaving that pause in.
I'd say, I want to say it's like a popular one, and I don't really like going straight for the popular one. So first one would probably be Not Afraid, and then if I'm going with a less popular one, Cold Wind Blows.
Cold Wind Blows? Recover. Both off Recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Eminem's like my favorite artist. If it's not obvious. Man, dude, I think I could tell you every track on every album. Why those two?
What? Excuse me.
Don't die. Ooh.
Getting over being sick. So Not Afraid. Again, it's kind of like the same energy we were talking about from the poem. It's like you have one life, you have one opportunity, and it takes courage to put yourself out there. You know, when you make yourself stand out, in a certain sense, you make yourself vulnerable. And you're opening up like Pandora's jar of all the, you know, like especially like with the life he lived with fame. You know, you open up Pandora's jar of all the things that come with that. And I really feel like he's just kind of singing about that journey and the shit you go through and the strong mind you have to endure that.
That was the first album where he had more hopeful songs.
Mm-hmm.
All the other stuff was the serial killer vibe or comedy stuff.
That's kind of why my two picks are from Recovery. Because I kind of like, I feel like after those albums, maybe he found a more serious side of himself, or, you know, maybe a side of himself that, like, he found some things to believe in.
He also had that brush with death, too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, that was... I think it was between Relapse and that album that he OD'd. Not sure when. It might have been before Relapse.
I'm not sure. But
I don't know, I just like his music. I don't go researching every nook and cranny of his dude's life.
I feel like you do.
I kind of do, yeah.
But speaking of musical artists...
Uh-oh.
And work... and our journeys. You, like 2 weeks ago, was it? You released your first, would you call it an EP or an LP?
I just call it an album. I don't know. It's a 10-track. It's out on Spotify. Listen to it. Nate Vizen. Captivity. Yeah.
What's your favorite song?
I think it was like a month ago. Well, my favorite song's the title track, Captivity. Of course. It's kind of... If political rap isn't your thing, don't listen to it. But if you don't care about that... I'm going to do...
The whole album, like, the whole album kind of has, like... There's different songs with a different vibe.
Yeah, it's definitely not all political. Like, I got one called Gay Vibes, where that's just satire, you know? As if I was gay, which I'm married to a woman who was born a woman. If anybody wondered. And it's not a cover-up. Nah, dude, I got Gay Vibes. That's like a comedy song. That was the first rap, actually, that I ever recorded off that album.
Oh, okay.
That was the very first one. And up until then, I always did guitar songs. And when I did that one, that was the moment I was like, this is my sound. I gotta make more stuff like this. And then all the rest of the raps happened. The next two I recorded were Lights and Captivity. And those both happened like in the same week. I just made 2 beats and nothing pre-written on those. Like, I wrote all the lyrics to fit the songs, basically. And each of them are kind of saying, like, we need to take accountability and stop the woke BS, you know, if we want to still enjoy the freedoms that we have and still enjoy the American life. Man, I can't remember what was after that, but all the rest were kind of...
What was the one you showed me the other day?
That was a new one that's not on the album. I can't talk about it.
Dang.
I know.
Okay. I really like that one.
Yeah, it's because I keep getting better, dude. Like, all my heroes, you know, that I look up to in music, I gotta give them a 10 out of 10 as far as the quality, the production, the vocals, everything. I'm sitting, in my own eyes, like 8 out of 10, you know? In writing, mostly. In the music and production, that's gotta get down to like maybe a 6.5 out of 10. Like, that's got a long way to go to get up to snuff.
Alright.
Like, I mean, you're always your own worst critic, right?
So, what are a few aspects of your album that you're most happy with?
The more songs I wrote, the better I got at writing.
Okay.
And when I say better at writing, I mean like it's kind of like the wordplay, long rhymes, complicated schemes kind of stuff. Because a lot of the song, like, it's not in chronological order from when I wrote the songs, obviously.
Yeah. Usually they're
but
not.
if you did put it in that order, every song gets a little bit smoothed out, a little bit better vocally and lyrically. And that one I showed you the other day is a good example of it. I think that's the best one out of all of them.
Would you say there's an overarching theme in the album?
I definitely take a big stab at laziness and a comical, slightly comical, but mostly serious view on just what's in politics, corruption, and
On both
conspiracy
sides.
theories. You know, I'm a conspiracy theorist myself. I listen to all those shows, Sam Tripoli and Greg Carlwood and Andy Frisella. He's more business and motivation and personal development, but makes reference. Sean Ryan. Joe Rogan, back when he was more a conspiracy theorist, when he talked about that stuff more. That's kind of where I'm coming from. That's the perspective. That's like
Johnathan,
what I'm
he's
trying to
big
project in the
into
album
that,
a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm big into it. Yeah, I love listening to this stuff, and there's some pretty convincing cases for a lot of it. Except for Flat Earth. I'm sorry. I got to get that out there. It's just your evidence that you provide is not evidence, it's speculation.
What are some conspiracy theory themes you cover in the album?
In the album? Ooh, I thought you were gonna ask me like what I believe actually. In the album.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we shouldn't. Oh man. One of them's about social media and like fact checkers. You know, how things that are proven true, obviously true, but against the mainstream narrative get fact checked, canceled, shadow banned, and all that, and then lies are propagated. You know, like just going off the titles, real facts, right? That one is specifically about just the corruption of media. You know, how we waste our lives away, like just scrolling through social media. That not only does it keep us from being productive, but it's also teaching us lies. Mm-hmm. So it's like a double-edged sword when you get addicted to that stuff.
It keeps you in captivity.
Yes.
Yeah. So when did you, what age were you when you realized you wanted to make music?
That's a great question. I've never thought of that. Once I started writing my own songs, actually. I got my first electric guitar at 18, which is way late to the party. But, oh man, dude, I got this acoustic guitar that was a piece of junk that for
ex-girlfriend got it for you, right?
No, not, well, the electric, yeah. That acoustic, I just got it at some church auction, and the bridge was coming up. There's half an inch of play to push the strings down on the frets. It was a nightmare. I still have it.
Frankenstein.
Dude, it was just old and beat up. I think it was like a Burzwood brand or something, but I would just stick a capo on it, on whatever fret, to just squeeze the strings down just so it was playable. It was so bad. But that, that's how I wrote a couple of guitar songs back then.
We're going to put this clip from the podcast on one of your songs when you do like a acoustic album.
Oh, dude, acoustic album.
Call the song Old Beat Up Guitar.
Yeah, dude, I wrote like 2 songs on that guitar. And then I joined this band. And when I was I wrote 2 songs on that guitar, and just 2 at the time, and I joined this band.
As Arrows?
Well, that was one of them, but it was called Stones and Slingshots, which is a cringy AF name. But
was that the one that was more like worship music?
Yeah, straight up worship. Like, we'd even have breaks in the music where somebody would do a sermon. Like, these sets that we do were like an hour and a half, bro. Like, we'd all play like 4 or 5 songs. Somebody come down, give a little sermonito, like just a little short kind of thing, and then we go back up and we play 4 more songs, but we'd all like be on a different instrument. And then somebody else would come down, and then we do like a skit. We go back. It was just like performance arts kind of band. Like fresh out of high school doing that stuff.
It's kind of cool though, like a group of young people that all just like were kind of like combining artistic resources to like put on a production. That's pretty cool, especially like you all were young, right? Teenagers?
I was 19 and the old one.
Okay.
One of like, I think 3 of us were older than all the rest who were all still in high school.
Were you the band leader?
No, that goes to Katie. She was leading us up, main singer.
Right.
And they wanted to record a couple songs. So I was like, well, my band wants to record, and I have these songs that, why not record them? So then I just went down the rabbit hole, getting on YouTube. Oh, home studios for $500, $600, $700, $800, and just seeing what I needed. And got a computer, an interface, a mic, and some headphones, and just took it from there. That's all it took. Let's get started. And those recordings were complete crap. And then I was like, dude, I need to learn how to actually do this. And then I found my first audio school, a recording workshop out in Ohio. And then Crass out in Phoenix. And then COVID hit and effed up all my plans to go to LA to do post-production, which is what I wanted to do primarily at the time. My interest kind of transitioned into that. Foley, sound effects, voiceover stuff for movies, basically, audio for film. A lot of the literally every single studio I had on my list, I had like a top 10 list of places I wanted to go, and every single one of them shut down for COVID. So I just hightailed it back to Michigan and, chilled with my dad for a couple months, came back to Phoenix, got married, and just started recording. I got some kind of new motivation for, reasons I don't even remember. I just was like, man, I haven't done this music thing in so long. I gotta get back.
How long did you let the music thing set on the...
like a year or 2. I was still making stuff, but just not seriously. I just pick up guitar and play the same 20 things that I knew over and over every day until, one day, oh, hey, that sounds kind of cool. Record it.
So you were still dabbling and playing
Yeah, I was learning. I would put it that way. Because I would get in the studio wanting to make something that would just impress all my friends, and everything that I made was terrible. It sucked. So I just kept making stuff, and every 20 crappy tracks, I'd come up with something cool, on one of them. I just kept making these guitar songs and recording them, re-recording them, remixing them, doing vocals 50 different times. I'd have a done song, and then I'd delete the whole thing and record the exact same song again.
Perhaps we could say that's a season of your life where you were weary and echoing what was said by the weary.
I don't think my mindset was poor, I tried to stay positive through it, knowing that, well, if I do it again, it's going to be better. Obviously, I've worked out all the kinks in this first time. And 100% of the time that was true. And then, yeah, anyway, eventually started making these rap songs. Just because after that first one I made, I was like, dude, I'm so much better at this. Because for years, ever since, like, I was 20, dude, I had these notes on my phone. Like, I'd be at work listening to rap, and I'd get some kind of idea for my lyrics, and I'd write it down real quick, and then I'd take those 2 lines back home and make a verse out of it. And those early days of just writing for the sake of writing, because it was fun, that set the foundation. And then, yeah, just ever since then, dude, like, I have my note, I got the notes on the iPhone, right? iPhone notes. And I would type lyrics until it was so long it would glitch out, scrolling to the bottom. So then I would make, song ideas number 2. And I did the same thing with that. And I'm up to 7 right now.
On a phone.
Yeah. And, like, I don't get the crappy iPhone. Like, I don't always have the newest ones, but they're always the pros and stuff, because
you definitely
tolerate slow phones.
Excuse me. You didn't have this big computer set up to store everything.
No, dude. This was way later. I got this at some point in Phoenix.
What year is it?
It's 2025, bro.
No, in the story.
Okay.
So it's after COVID.
First guitar, 2016, 17, 27. Dude. I don't know, when I was 18. I was born in 95, figure it out. My first college was 2018. Second college started in the fall of 2019.
2013?
19.
But no, 2013 is when you got your guitar, I think.
Was it that long ago?
We're old, dog.
I was not 18 in 2013.
I was 18 in 2014, and you're a year older than me.
Get out of here.
Yeah. I was just having the same conversation with Darla yesterday. Like, we were talking, and at first I said it's been like 10 years since she's graduated school. Then we were like, wait, no, it's been 13 years. And she was like, no.
I didn't get an invite to my 10-year reunion. Wow, I feel left out. Centerville Public Schools, thanks. Who's in charge of that? I need names.
I don't know if they do it that early, 10 years.
Everybody has a 10-year.
Really?
I asked the first one.
I don't know, dog. I was homeschooled. I'm not the best person to ask.
2013? Ah, you're right. Bro. You just blew my mind a little bit. I'm upset. Alright, 2013 guitar. Plinked around, learned all the same 80s metal songs that everybody learns, the hair bands.
That everybody learns. Everybody knows.
If you picked up a guitar, what song would you learn first?
Yeah, definitely.
Something from the 80s?
Definitely classic rock.
Yeah. You have to.
So the ones I enjoy singing for karaoke are like, lately I've been like, I'd say late 60s, early 70s. So I'd probably learn to play those on some like instrument, like the Doors. I've really been getting into the Doors.
Doors. 3 Doors Down? Oh, no, the Doors. Yeah.
The Doors. Anyhow.
Really? 2013, bro? Okay, so 2018 school, 2020 I graduated the second school in Phoenix. And came back home. And then I went back out there late in 2020. At some point there I got the computer. I mean, not that the computer's that great. I just got a crap ton of monitors. And, let's see.
Someday you guys will, when we have video recording with the podcast, you'll see the big computer setup we have here.
We'll just use that as the background. I need an American flag, like a giant one, to put on the wall. That'd be cool.
Or a Don't Tread on Me one. Anyhow.
From the War of Northern Aggression, right?
Our ADHD is running wild.
What was your question?
Oh, I was just...
Dude.
I asked you what year was this when you were currently talking in the story, and then we brought up that it's been 13 years since you graduated high school.
I'm only 20. I don't know what you're talking about.
12 years, 12 years.
No, it's like it was 2 years ago. I graduated 2 years ago in 2014. Okay?
No, 2015.
14. I didn't repeat grades like you probably did, okay?
Dude, we'll talk about my education at a future episode. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, in the middle of that school, the second school, crass, just meeting people on the same journey with the same passions, that fires you up. You gotta be surrounded by people that are...
Who are some of those people? Do some name drops.
Name drops, dude. Okay, Fulton, Blaze, Ty, Chino. Favorite four. Top four right there. Definitely. All the instructors. Oh, man.
What at the school you attended?
Yeah.
Right on.
I mean, everybody's got their favorites just because it seems like different instructors specialize in different areas of audio, so obviously, depending where you want to go, those are the ones you get closest to. I was like Keith, because he had a mouth like a sailor, and opinions did not matter to him. And he had no filter. He did live sound, and he's really good. Dude, this guy, you could snap your fingers in a mic, and whatever feedback came through it as you gradually turn the volume up, he'd say, oh, it's this frequency. And then we'd turn that down on the 31 band, and dude, he's right. Every time without fail. Like, his ears and his practice was insane. Dude's like probably 5 feet tall.
Oh wow! Where did you meet him?
Oh, he's one of the instructors at Crass.
Which school was that? Phoenix or Ohio?
Crass, Phoenix Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences. Yeah, he was cool. I'm trying to think. Oh man, there's actually a lot of instructors there now. And I'm thinking back on it. I remember in one class we called him OG. He went through like it wasn't a class, duh. It was just an extracurricular thing at school. He had this vinyl collection that was like, it was huge, to say the least. And you could ask him about any of these albums that he had, and he'd tell you everything about them, bro. Where he got it, year it came out, the band members of the band, all the songs on it. Like his knowledge is incredible.
I could talk for hours about music, honestly. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that's weird to some people. It's not weird to me, though. I like it. Just music, band trivia, you know?
Yeah, dude, there's people you like, people you don't like everywhere. I don't want to talk about the ones that, I had beef with or anything. I didn't have beef, it's just personalities are different. Some people that just crush your dreams right in front of you.
One beef story, not using any names.
Me?
Yeah. Because in the story, every hero has to have the antagonist.
Well, dude, I did an assignment exactly like how I was told to, and just because the quality was poor, I was told that I didn't do the assignment right, and I got like this freaking big fat goose egg on it for a score.
What'd you get?
0. Goose egg.
Oh, damn. Oh,
yeah.
Goose egg.
Nothing personal, but that was dirty. He did me dirty.
What was the project?
I don't remember, bro.
They shoved it out of your memory.
I didn't even care.
Repressed it.
Probably it's in there. I gotta go to regression therapy to remember it.
You start. Was it a song?
No, it's just, dude. There's so much stuff you do. You learn signal flow on consoles. You learn live sound. You learn video game audio. You do post production, broadcast. Oh, we actually got to go check out the Fox Sports audio trailer at a NASCAR race once. That was a cool little trip that we went on. Just seeing how these mixers are doing on the fly, just live with all these freaking microphones that are all over the place. Taking commands, one in each ear from people, You got your headphones on, you got, people telling you what to do, what mics, what faders, what to do in one ear and another guy in the other ear.
Oh, hey.
It's pretty crazy.
Well, as far as
it's cool.
As far as operating like sound and whatnot, you had a pretty cool experience with a band. Yeah, you got to go on tour.
Oh, yeah, dude, Disciple.
Yeah.
Christian metal band. And all right. So they came to my hometown, Sturgis, and
we saw them in concert.
Yeah, I always pay attention.
Fair.
No, Sturgis Young Auditorium.
They also did the St. Joe. Maybe that was at a different time though. I think these are two different times.
We didn't go together.
I remember the time I saw him. You were there. Heard them. It's a band. It's not a person.
We saw Disciple together.
Not together.
Oh.
You were at the concert and I saw you there. I think you were with like your youth group or something. Actually, though, I think the time I think I have my stories mixed up. Because I think that the time I saw Disciple was like in 2013, and we hadn't met yet. Yeah.
I don't think I even knew Disciple yet as a band, which is pathetic to admit.
So they were here in Sturgis.
Sturgis Young Auditorium doing a show, and I pay attention to the news and updates on the local music stuff around here because there's not it's not much happening here, but they needed volunteers just to help set up, and I'm like, oh cool, bro, like I'm gonna help set up my favorite band or one of my favorite bands. And I don't know, I just showed up and asked like, hey, who's this chick that sent the email out? Found her. She's like, oh yeah, you want to talk to Josh O'Connell, he's the sound guy for him. And talked to him, and he just said, well, here's the trailer and there's the stuff, just help us carry it in. And this is all the audio gear, like soundboard, cables, mics, trusses, lights, instruments and stuff, and helped set it all up too once we got it in. And then just sat at the board with him and talked nerd audio stuff, just trying to impress him with my very limited knowledge at the time. And at the end of it, he's like, actually, hey, we could use a guy like you to come on tour with us. So we're going just straight up the Midwest states. It's only a week long. You should check it out and let me know. And dude, I was like, my eyes were like round, bro. I was like, dude, tour with Disciple? Dude, I don't care if I'm sweeping floors with Disciple. Heck right. Yeah, I'm there. Like, just tell me when. I'm going to ask it off of my work, like, tonight.
So, like, in the beginning of my music, Christian rock was all I was allowed to listen to as a kid. And so, like, I remember Disciple, they were, like, one of my bands, in heavy rotation in my playlists. With my iPod Nano, I'd download off iTunes with our dial-up internet. Take all night to download one or two songs. But yeah, I'd listen to Disciple. I never would have thought that one of my best friends would actually be going on tour with them. And
that was such a cool
hearing
experience.
that, and like my mind was just like blown. Like, that's crazy.
I thought it was crazy too. In hindsight, I think it's just like, hey, this little idiot's dumb enough to come do manual labor for us for a week, so let's get him to come. They paid for my food. Dude, it was so cool, bro. It's a fun band, bro. They're like jokes all day long. Like, we hopped in the bus.
I feel like
we'd fall asleep and just wake up in a city when the bus stops, unload it, run sound for the show, reload it, fall asleep till the next place, wake up, do it again. Just did that all kinds of little places, like little churches and little I don't know what performance halls and stuff.
What did Disciple eat a lot of?
I don't remember what they ate. We had a lot of coffee. I remember that. They had a Keurig there that was in constant cycle.
I bet.
The tour bus's name was Priscilla.
Like Adderall for Christian rock bands. The ones who take it seriously.
The name of that tour bus was, I think it was Priscilla's. And I might be mistaken, but apparently it was one of Tim McGraw's old tour buses.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, these little beds, 3 high on each side of a hallway. Little tiny little bunks.
You know. So you're in Phoenix. You're making music. It's after COVID. Your school got shut down.
Yep, came back here for a month, hung out with my dad, and mowed his grass so he wouldn't charge me rent.
I think you worked with me for a little bit. Is that when you had your Jeep? I remember there was one time, it was like...
No, that was after I sold it. I
started my business in 2021, and...
No.
So it would have been like 2021... No, what? Okay, no, I was 21, sorry.
I was going to say, dude, that Jeep didn't exist anymore.
2017, sorry. It's been a long day. 2017 is when I started my business. And then, so it must have been like 2018 or something. Because I remember you came and worked with me a few days. And right in the middle of a customer's yard, I was like using a push mower to get some grass. And Johnathan comes up behind me with a weed whacker and starts revving it up like he's going to get me in the ass with the weed whacker. And I'm like, dude, stop. I'm in the middle of a customer's yard. And he's like, going at me. And I'm like, no, Johnathan, no. Anyhow.
Something always happens. Like something crazy always happens when we're hanging out. Dude, even working.
Shenanigans.
Yes, perfect word. Shenanigans.
So you came back here for a little while, mowed your dad's lawn.
Yeah, we didn't graduate yet. We were supposed to in the spring of 2020. COVID kind of delayed that, and then they resumed school, I think like later that fall or next spring or something. And then we finished, but when we finished, all those post-production studios I wanted to work at were still shut down. So I'm like, well, whatever. I did my internship with actually this job that I have now, working for Josh for his productions, editing church sermons, getting them ready for broadcast. Probably my favorite job I've ever had. It's great working for him. And I just stayed doing that. And in the meantime, I just started the little jobs, the little full-time jobs. That's the point where I started working for Amazon.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started driving truck for some stupid reason.
Yeah, did you CDL?
The CDL.
It's a good way to, consistently work.
It's a good way to consistently make sure you don't have any home time.
Anywhere you go, you're gonna find work with it.
Definitely. 14-hour days. Except for a couple places. But they're usually long days, yeah.
No, I get it, dog.
I still do it, too. I still drive truck.
Our lawn care business, it definitely takes away from other passions but, it's something that needs to, I need to make money, and it's a good way to make money.
I don't entirely agree, but, it is what it is.
What do you mean?
Long hours and no sleep, dealing with the horror stories. You're always fighting with your dispatch. When I started, I was over the road doing team runs. So, you're sleeping in the back of the truck while your life's in the hands of whoever co-driver you're with driving. And then, man, did that for a couple years. And then went to this dude doing flatbed stuff and all, hauling palleted bags of cement and lumber and steel, just all kinds of industrial stuff. And then that guy, his paycheck started bouncing, So I went on to the next guy, hauling out of a scrapyard to a landfill. He went out of business. And then I went to the next place. And I worked there until I was ready to move back to Michigan. And I had a friend out here that owns his own trucking company. So I hit him up, and I had 3 years experience at the time when I started here. That, I tried to hit him up a year in, and he's like, oh, you need at least 2 years experience here. So then after I got 3 years, Then I hit him up again, and he's like, "Oh, funny story. We just switched insurance companies, and now you don't need any experience to work here. So yeah, come on."
Yeah.
Wow, figures.
Yeah, well, and like people who do business around here, they're gonna be a lot more honest and do business better than people in the big city.
Dude, you can say that again.
In the big city, the grass is thick and there's snakes in it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Dude.
The grass is thick and there's snakes in it.
I think we talked about that on the first episode, right? Like, just some bad experiences financially in Phoenix, just from a combination of people taking advantage of the guy that was a little too naive for his own good.
Thing about it though,
you learn a lot.
It's like lifting weights, resistance training. You learn to survive out in Phoenix, you're gonna do pretty good here, in Sturgis.
Dude, I've already noticed.
Yeah.
I've already noticed just going and talking to people, like when I'm loading up in the truck, literally just in trucking, like the shipping and receiving at places out here. Some are dicks, yeah, because they're just really strict on the rules and they kind of have to be. But dude, on a personal level, all the guys and girls out here working, they seem so much nicer and more at ease. It is an unexplainable difference.
People are super talkative too.
Like, if you don't, dude, it doesn't do it justice to talk about it because you have to see the difference. Like, people are completely different. Mm-hmm. It blows my mind how nice people are here.
Well,
I love
city folks just come on out, take a little weekend trip, go find a small town to stay in, and yeah. Majority of my customers are people from like Chicago who like have lake houses back here in Michigan, because like it's like for like small town people like us, we'll go like I enjoy going to Chicago or like the big city for like a weekend or a week tops, but I couldn't live life there. To me, it feels too robotic, Dude, it doesn't feel as personal, doesn't feel as homey.
I'm such a small town kid, dude. When I go to the big cities and I'm walking through downtown, I'm just like staring up into the sky, like looking at all the buildings. They're so tall, like, whoa, this is so cool. It's a concrete jungle.
I don't think I could live in the big city.
It's different. You adapt, obviously, but it's just, it's preference. If you don't like it, you're not gonna.
Like, I was homeschooled, and then grew up in a small town, so that would be like, it basically like be like taking a zebra from the zoo and turning them out into the wild. Just a culture shock,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but your hometown has one traffic light, right?
Oh yeah, one blinking traffic light.
And no Walmart.
6 people, traffic's backed up. No, hell no, there ain't no Walmart.
Oh my gosh, dude, that is so true. Like, my uncle out here, like, often talks about, like, not coming to town, like, around, like, 5 to 9 in the morning.
Oh, my God.
Or, like, around 4 to 6 or whatever at night because the traffic's so bad. And I'm like, dude, you do not know traffic, bro. In Phoenix, there is 7-lane highways that are stop and go.
Big city traffic is actually something that used to freak me out. It doesn't anymore. I actually, me and Darla, for our anniversary, we drove to Chicago. Usually we'd take like a train or something, because I wasn't down for driving there.
That train's fun to take.
We'd take like a bus and just go there for a day or two. But this time we drove, and you just kind of have to go with the crazy flow, Just speed up, get into the craziness, and then you find a flow in it.
The house that we lived in Phoenix, I remember one time there was a drive-by shooting in the house across the road.
Yeah.
One time I went out to our backyard and there was some guy's pillow and blanket back there.
You be talking about that.
Some crackhead just decided to spend the night in my yard.
You be talking about that in your album? No.
I don't know.
Shot down on your street?
That's a good idea. Okay, like, rappers talk a big game, right?
Oh, I was joking.
Like, I'm a little arrogant sometimes when I rap, but I'm not gonna try to get myself killed by what I say, you know? Dude, I went out there and dumped my used car oil all over his blanket and his pillow. Because, like, it's not, like, the nice kind of homeless in our neighborhood we're in. It was the crackheads. Like, we lived in the crack neighborhood. It sucked. We had rats in our house once, cockroaches once, and, like, I mean, things are cluttered, but it's clean, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, we regularly clean everything. We just got a bunch of coats hanging up on the rack and a lot of shoes sitting on the floor in front of the door. Like, it's lived in, but it's clean.
Yeah.
And we could not get rid of these stupid rats. And then we got these cats that are so useless. They just sit there and listen to the scratches, and they're like... Dude, if a rat ran across the room, our cats would try to play with it.
That's intense, dog. Wow.
We got the most docile, passive cats possible.
It'd just be, hey, it's our buddy the rat. Let's play with them.
Dude, these things, you start petting them like they're laying in their bed, they'll just close their eyes and fall asleep. Like, it's insane. You can pick them up.
Are you talking about the rats?
The cats, dog.
I know.
I did have 3 pet mice once.
Out in Arizona?
No, out here before I moved.
I
I was in school still. It was like for a science fair.
Oh, okay. I don't think I knew you when you were still going to high school.
I named them Larry, Moe, and Curly. I could not tell the difference between them, so I don't know which one was which. So I took some hair dye once, and I dyed the hair on the back of one of them's neck red. That was Moe. And Larry was green. And Curly didn't have anything.
Curly was the bald one, right? On Three Stooges?
Yeah, he's the fat one.
Fat bald one.
Is that offensive? Can I say fat? Obese, maybe?
I wondered as I said it. I guess we'll find out.
So what happens? Like, does that count as explicit content or what?
I don't think so.
I don't even know.
Crude.
Dude, one of my friends out here made a song that was completely clean and it had no swear words, and he put it on Spotify and they labeled it explicit.
Wonder why.
I have no idea.
So like on TikTok and Facebook, I was doing for a while there a lot of motivational like reels and whatnot, and there was a few that got flagged by Facebook, I guess, because I had some rap songs playing in the background.
So, what, copyright?
No, it was the words they used.
That's funny.
So.
You know, Not Afraid was the first rap song I ever memorized.
I think I remember like driving in my truck and then playing it, and you'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, damn, it's kicking rap.
That was when I still sucked.
That's one of the,
You've always been supportive. Even when I was trash, dude, anything I did, you always like... sometimes you'd lie to me. But it was with good intentions.
You think I'd lie to you?
Yes.
When was the time I told you that something was good and you thought I was lying?
I had this song called... Give me a minute, this is the first song I ever made. In My Arms Again. It's this love song. It's this pathetic... Bro. It's this pathetic, like, Taylor Swift song about my ex that broke up with me. How I want you back. I love you. I want you in my arms. Blah, blah, blah. Dude, it was flat, and I could barely play guitar at the time.
If you did it now, I'd probably be like, what the hell are you doing, Jonathan? Like, that was trash.
No, I can actually play it now. That's what I'm saying. Like,
no, but I'm saying,
back
like,
then,
it was
dude,
good for you then, you know? It was a good job then, like... still, like, I didn't have many friends, dude. Like, it's like, when you notice a friend is musically skilled, it's like, there's a whole lot of other friends that aren't musically skilled at all, so, it's still good.
What are you best at?
What do you mean?
Skills, hobbies.
In life?
Yeah.
I'd say I'm good at being, consistent, disciplined. When I was growing up religious, I'd read my Bible religiously 3 times a day. And I obsessively go to the gym every morning. I'll obsessively put in long hours for my business. So if I care about something or want it to happen, I will obsessively commit myself to it and consistently initiate that. I don't always do good. Sometimes shit gets sloppy, but I will not give up and I will keep going.
I'm gonna blow your mind.
What?
We are 1 hour into this.
Hell yeah.
I feel like it's 15 minutes.
No. I do feel like it's been an hour. I do feel so. Yeah.
Sheesh. Okay, so what? I feel like this is an interview.
We were talking about your album.
Oh yeah. What about it? I mean, I know you asked the schemes or whatever, or what it's about.
I was trying to give everybody a backstory about
the very last song on that album. Actually, is one of those crappy guitar songs I was talking about. I don't have a drummer, and my regret on that is the drums are kind of really boring and generic. I mean, it's all... Dude, okay, if you're a rap fan, it's not really any topics that haven't been touched before, but I try to bring some fresh lyricism, I guess, That's always what I admired most in rap, for obvious reasons, Eminem being my favorite. And then just discovering, as time went on, other dudes that just, with their words... I'll be like, dude, how in the hairy? How the heck do you write that? How do you come up with that? So I started practicing myself. And, now I've written things that I read my own lyrics. I'm like, man, I'm never going to be able to write something that good again. And then I do, and it's better. I'm like, wow.
What's the writing process like?
Oh, man, dude. There's a bunch of different ways to write. Sometimes you make a beat, and... you just feel like it should say something on a certain topic. Oh, this needs to be about love. Oh, this song, this is motivational. This needs to be have something inspirational in it because the music is the inspirational moment in a movie or something. This music would play. So you got to write something like that. And sometimes it makes sounds okay, you could sing anything on this. So it might as well be wordplay or something. But I don't know, usually I just come up with one rhyme. Whether, 1 or 21 syllables long and anything in between. It's 2 lines. 1 line and then the next one that rhymes with it. And then later, I'll sit down and actually, rhyme it a whole bunch more times. I'll come back and, take that 2-line rhyme and I'll make it 16 lines long. Sometimes I'll take one, or sometimes for the wordplay stuff, an easy way to kind of impress with wordplay is you put your pun or your double, triple entendre or whatever with a line that rhymes into it. We'll write the verse above it to end on that wordplay, that line. So it's you got this long, complicated rhyme that ends on the most complex, but the punchline is right there at the end. It hits harder a little bit that way.
Right on, man.
Than just to randomly play stuff. Other times, I've been almost falling asleep and then a song will just come to my head. I don't know if it exists already or not, but I write it down. It might be in the style of something or maybe one word out of it.
Does it ever start with just a chorus or something like that? Or one line is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then other times, like, you just start completely fresh. Like, I'll make a beat, grab a pen and a notepad, and I'll just write the song. Sometimes you spend weeks on one song and it ends up being crap, and then other times, I don't know what to call the inspiration, but dude, you just sit down with a blank canvas, you make the music, you make the lyrics, you record it, you mix it, and you got a song in like 2 days. Like, you did all the work in like 30 minutes. And then, you spend an hour mixing it and making it sound good. Boom, song. Listen to it the next day. After you had a reset. Okay, this is good. This cymbal's a little high right here. Turn that down. All right, now it's good. Let's get it out.
I do think there's like a source that, like, where like the good art, the inspiration for it comes from, something like higher.
Imposter syndrome? You heard of that?
Yeah.
Like, that's big, dude. I don't want to, like, discredit my own music, but I almost feel bad sitting here talking like I'm like, oh, I've reached perfection in my writing.
No,
like speaking from this experienced point. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not saying that nobody thinks you are.
Don't get me wrong. I have way far to go. Like, I'm not even at the level I want to be at to put out my first album. I just wanted to get the ball rolling, because I'm sitting here stewing with songs for so long. Like, dude, I got to get these out and move on and just keep making better stuff and get better as I go. Because, like, I've seen a million other people's careers where the first album is sucky, and then the next one is a little better, and the next one's a little better. And I'm like, well, shoot, bro, I could sit here for a decade and, like, never release anything because I'm always getting better. But I'm definitely not at the point of completely honing in my sound yet. I'm still experimenting and still learning. I'm just saying I have come a long way at the same time.
No, of course, Doug.
Just needed that to be clear, because I feel like I sound arrogant.
No. I think that you're just not used to giving yourself credit for doing a good job.
I mean, I'll say that new one that I showed you the other day. That one is the closest to what I want the sound to get to. I feel like that one you can sit back and listen to it. There's nothing that you hear that's like, ooh, that's kind of bad, or ooh, that should have been different. Like, there's one little moment where I kind of, like, there's this one line that has a little, like, 2 extra syllables that I kind of said a little faster to get that last word at the right beat. I feel like that sounds off, but, like, dude, it's fine. That song's good. So I can sit here and try to rap that whole verse over and over and over, and then that line, like, punching in over and over and over. But, dude, there comes this point, the law of diminishing returns. You gotta just freaking get your best take that you did do, even if it has mistakes, and get it out. Finish it up, move on. That's what, dude, I've had music for years, on the computer, and it's just this year I released an album.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was talking about releasing an album of 10 songs 2 years ago,
mm-hmm.
and I had 10 songs.
What matters is that you did it. There's so many people that talk about that,
dude.
And they never did it. They never will. Like, you did it, dog. And there's no, like, that's a big deal. You do a good job. You do a good job with your music.
I appreciate that.
Especially from, like, the beats and
They're better now, dude. They're so better.
Yeah, dog.
Like, I have so many bad ones. Like, I'll show you some, like, later. But they're just not good. Or, like, there's something missing or whatever. And it's beyond the point of just tweaking it and making it better. It's just objectively
despite the things that you'd
bad.
like to be better, there's a lot in there that's good and not everybody can do. Like, you should check it out.
Man.
I'm talking to the audience. Check it out.
I know that. I know there's good stuff in there. And some of it's decent, but it's like, yeah, it's not my vibe. I don't want it. Like, it's sitting on a hard drive, Maybe I'll go back in one of those days where I go back and listen to the old stuff and use it. Or maybe, like, I have songs that are completely done that I'm not going to release.
All the time.
Like, I'm going to recycle the lyrics, but that song that's done, it's scrap, it's trash. It's just, keep those lyrics in the pocket for when
you should ever like throw away something that you create into complete oblivion. Like,
oh, dog, trust me, if you heard him, you would throw him away too.
Alright.
It's just that progression. It's intimidating too at first. As soon as you start, you just poke a toe in the pool of music business. Oh man, dude. Publishing, distribution, your performance rights organizations, your YouTube, your overseas, like all those royalty collection agencies, everything. Like there's so much to learn, and then there's like trademarking and copyright your songs, like trademarking your name. And then there's marketing on top of all that. Like it's a lot to, like when you have zero experience going in, like there's probably people that'll listen to this that are so like far into their careers or whatever musically, that are like, he'll figure it out, it's easy. But dude, when you're down here learning with no prior experience in those areas, it's like overwhelming at first.
Well, you've come a long way with it, man.
One page of that book sitting up there at a time.
All you need to know about music business. By download as password.
Yeah, that's the 9th edition. I think they got a 10th out now.
Maybe I'll listen to it on Audible.
Beefy audiobook. It's kind of nerdy, but hey, you learn some stuff, dude. If I could put books in my head and just have them memorized, it'd be the Bible and that.
All right.
Literally.
What was your biggest takeaway from that book?
Dude, I'm not through it yet.
Oh, damn.
I mean, I just skipped to the parts like there's it starts with like building your team, right? Your music lawyers, and then your accountants, and your bookkeeping, and your business structure, and the important things to get dialed in first. And then it goes more in depth about like record labels, recording studios, distribution. Then it talks all about like the copyright office and that stuff, and not that that's much, you just go on there and submit your stuff. But the performance rights, publishing, your record label, if you're going to be your own record label, it talks about your booking agents, it talks about touring and merchandise, all kinds of stuff. I can't even remember everything in there. And when I say I skipped parts, it's just the parts that don't apply, like record labels, right?
Okay.
I kind of read halfway and I was like, well, I'm not dealing with record labels.
Yeah.
So when the day comes, I'll come back to this book and brush up on that. But
there's almost no reason to deal with a record label in today's, the new music world.
Dude, so many people are independent.
Yeah. Good people, too. What's his name? Country singer Redbeard. Help me out. He was on the Joe Rogan Experience. Christopher...
Anthony Oliver.
Anthony Oliver music, yeah. He's a good example of that. He got big, too.
Is he independent?
Oh, yeah, no. Cool. I think it was he just posted a video, he posted a video on YouTube, and, I believe, maybe it's not the way it is now, but I know, Midsummer, his songs on Spotify were recorded off of his phone. And they still sounded really good.
I don't know what happened, dude. I never heard of that guy.
Powerful voice.
Never heard of him in my life.
He's a good example of someone in the modern world like that. Got super popular just with help from a record label.
I heard nothing about him until Richmond, north of Richmond.
Yep.
And that thing blew him up, bro.
Yeah, no,
And then I went back and listened to all of his stuff.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, he's not my favorite, but he is good.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good. His voice, specifically.
Now there's people I'll be singing karaoke somewhere, and somebody will be, just a couple weeks ago, me and Darla went out for Valentine's Day, and they had karaoke at the restaurant we were at. And there was somebody singing Richmond, north of Richmond.
Chris Webby, He took that song and sampled the chorus and made a rap out of it.
Who's Chris Webby? I'm not familiar.
Chris Webby. Dude, I can't give that guy. I don't know what kind of introduction to give a dude that's been going since like 2010 or 11. He's another white rapper out of Connecticut that is very... He has a lot of nostalgic vibes, a lot of 80s, 90s pop culture references in his raps.
Video game tunes, maybe?
Yeah, definite references to video games. Off of the album with the purple cover, he's got this song called World Unlock, where the music is literally the Gerudo Valley theme from The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
That's my favorite song because of that music.
Right.
Like, as soon as it started playing, I just started smiling, bro. It was like Zelda was my freaking game.
That's
dude.
like...
that was my game growing up.
There's another independent guy, streamer from YouTube.
Chris is independent.
I just found his music on Spotify. I didn't know that he was a streamer. But he has like, I don't know, maybe 17 songs on Spotify. He's like this basically like PewDiePie type YouTuber, you know? And he has like really good music, and he has like, in his songs, he has like audio clips from like, like the Disney previews for movies. Like you'd hear like the narrator, this coming soon to theaters, like that voice.
Say that again. Get real close to that mic.
Coming soon to theaters.
Bro, you need to do some like voice acting.
I definitely,
or at least voiceover.
I'm definitely interested,
bro.
But he'll have like the clips of that in his music. It's like,
that's cool.
I love that when like, that's something that I notice in your music though. Like you have like different beats and tunes that are almost nostalgic of like classic video games.
I don't try to do that.
Just your inner nerd.
It wasn't until you pointed that out that I started listening to some of my beats and stuff. I'm like, dude, this idiot's right, bro.
Oh.
Come on. I don't know if that's unfortunate or fortunate or what. It's funny. That's a good observation. One more thing about Chris Webby, dude. I gotta give him credit. So his lyricism is on point, bro. His wordplay, just the complexity of his rhyme schemes and his flows. That guy is nuts.
What's a song by him everybody should check out?
Oh, dude. Oh, man. Okay, one that I really like is Tasmanian Devil. That's off the Red album. I think it's called Next Wednesday, but don't quote me. That one's great. Very lyrical. Dude, all of his albums. That's another thing I like about. That's why he's one of my favorites. He's literally my number 2 under Eminem. Well, every album, he brings it. Every song. There's no skip songs. Like, you just listen to all of them. He's great.
No, I'm definitely like, I'm one of those people that
his features.
If you really like an artist, you'll listen to their whole album. Not just...
When I discovered him, bro, I went...
Pink Floyd. You gotta listen to the whole album.
Oh, Pink Floyd. Dude, Dark Side of the Moon, you gotta get the best quality sound system you can.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and wide stereo,
yep.
Nice and crispy clear. And just shut your eyes and lean back and listen. That album is like just as much musicianship as it is art on the recording console. That mixing engineer that I don't know his name, maybe it's a band member, maybe it's not, but
Roger Waters.
The quality of those recordings, of the production and the editing and everything is so good. It's literally one of the standards of mixing.
If it wasn't for Pink Floyd, we wouldn't have dubstep. We wouldn't have...
If it wasn't for Grandpa Jones, they say we wouldn't have rap.
Who's Grandpa Jones?
He's this ancient bluegrass guy. He just would sing really fast. He's one of the... What I read on the trustworthy internet is that he was one of the first dudes to really speak a lot of his lyrics quickly.
Oh.
He's like the granddaddy of rap.
The first recognized rap group is Sugar Hill Gang.
Oh, dude, that brings back
You know
memories.
what I'm talking about?
Yes, of course. Man, I wish I listened.
And then 10 years later, you have NWA, totally different style, totally different vibe. And then you got Biggie, you got
Tupac, bro.
Dude, so I was watching...
He's just inspiration for so many rappers.
I was watching this video on YouTube. It was like Billboard, 100 top rap songs from... It was like maybe some year in the 80s to current. And like... It was like... For a long period of time. And then like... In the late 90s, there's Eminem. First white guy.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, it was a lot of good, respectable, like, NWA, a few songs by Tupac, a few songs by Biggie, and then all of a sudden you got this white boy, Eminem, and it's like, where'd he come from?
Yeah, first album after Infinite. First album under Dre, talking about freaking murdering his wife with his baby and...
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Frick, 97 Bonnie and Clyde. Dude, that stuff's wild. First track. Hi, my name is... What?
What album's that from?
Shut up. Dude, we're going to listen to that whole album as soon as this podcast is over, bro.
I've never
You can't tell me you don't know
that. I've only... The first
Slim Shady LP, 1997, bro.
I've listened to that one.
You don't know that song? Hi, my name is what? Sicka Slim Shady.
Let me think of the songs from the album.
Bro.
Hi,
kids.
What's the word?
Guilty Conscience?
Guilty Conscience.
That's the next album.
Rock Bottom.
Yeah, dude. Ooh, Chris Webby has a song that's a direct influence off Rock Bottom.
Mm.
Like, he's a similar beat and sound. It's called Middle Ground. I think that's off his Blue album.
That's like one
Wednesday.
of the few, like a lot of the songs in that album are really like wacky and like
yes, comedy
dark
and horrorcore.
Crude. Yeah, but that's like the first one where it has this very somber tone in the album.
What do you mean?
Rock Bottom.
Somber. Oh, yeah, song on the album. It's Rock Bottom. Do.
What are we at on time?
1 hour and 22 minutes and 52 seconds.
Alright.
Well, you want to wrap it there?
Yeah, let's wrap it up and put a bow on it.
And kiss it goodnight and tuck it in.
Send it off to the elves.
Do you think the muse was with us today?
I would like to think so.
Where do you believe inspiration comes from?
Where do I believe inspiration comes from? I don't know. But
it's
like
a complicated question.
I would like to think when somebody creates like good art, they're like there's like this animating force, right? Maybe it's God. It's like it's what makes the planets move. It's like evolution. It's just a constant. It's like the element of growth and life in the universe that keeps, it's like the battery that makes it. And I'd like to think when somebody creates good art, they're like in alignment with that creative force.
I think the work when you're not inspired but still making art is what makes you better. Is what makes your skills improve, so that when those moments of inspiration come, you have the ability to accurately represent it as you see it or hear it in your mind.
Where does the inspiration in our mind come from?
Frick if I know. Dude. It comes... it's triggered by anything.
We've both been there where you're creating something and you just close your eyes, right? And you write down what comes to you. And sometimes it's crazy, like this type of story that gets molded or the type of song gets molded. And
I've had lyrics in my phone where I'll have the 2-line thing and then I'll add a third one the next day. Then I'll think of 4 more the next day, and then a week goes by thinking about this same stupid rhyme and I can't come up with anything. And then later, I'll come up with some other rhyme. It's every syllable, a whole line rhymes, and I do it 20 times. It's like, how does that happen? You know, and it all comes to you at once.
Right.
It's weird.
It's like in the topic of the muse, that's something I've been hearing a lot of people, like, you almost never heard people talking about it, but in like the last 2 years or so on so many different podcasts, like from Joe Rogan to different comedians to like musical artists, TV show producers, movie producers, like so many people, like they bring up the muse and like their creative process, and that they believe that there's like this something, this like source that it comes from. And
I've actually noticed the same thing.
Yeah, it's really captured my attention the last few years. You guys let us know if you've also noticed that.
All our 2 listeners that we got.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, so with that, let's actually wrap it up. My bad.
You open up a big topic like the muse and then say, let's wrap it up.
You want to keep talking about it?
Maybe we could do that as a part 2 for the next episode.
I'm done with that.
Yeah.
The muse.
Talk about the
That's
topic
Greek,
of the
right?
muse. Yeah. So in Greek mythology, there's these... I don't know if they're considered like gods necessarily, but they're like these spiritual beings, maybe the equivalent to angels, you know? And, well, because like Judeo-Christian mythology, perhaps you want to say, or like extra books, you know, they also like, they have their own version of this, but like they say like different angels were created to inspire different things, but I'm rabbit trailing. In Greek, excuse me, in Greek mythology, I believe there's like either 7 or 8 muses, and they inspired a variety of different things, you know, the drama, the comedy, the tragedy.
There's 6 of them, right? Or 7?
I thought 7 or 8.
I really don't know anything about this. You sure do, though.
It's limited. I've done some thinking about it, for sure. It's a topic I've thought about more than twice. But
well, cool.
For me, it's more of like a story writing stance. Not necessarily songs, but there's been times where like I wrote down this story that you guys will hear eventually. Not now, though. And it's like, holy cow, where did that come from?
Holy cow.
Yeah. But that being said, tune in next time. We'll discuss the muse and other strange topics of that nature.
Let's talk about aliens.
Yeah. We'll get a little conspiratorial slash out there just with our conversation next time.
Dude, we're already out there.
I feel like these last 2 episodes that been kind of a good way for you to get to know us as people, you know, and just type of lives we live. Now you'll get a better taste of some of the crazy ideas we have.
You know what? Maybe 50 episodes later, we'll look back at these and think they sucked. That's the goal. You know, to be that good, that much better.
Oh, for sure. I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Me too. It was a good idea. I'm glad, we finally got the ball rolling. So yeah, with that, I guess we'll wrap it up.
That's I don't know. That was the vision or the dream.
Of course. So. We got to talk about the title too. Peace and Toodles.
Peace and Toodles.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get there.
All right, everybody. Let's remember to be nicer and kinder. And if we can't be nicer or kinder, let's remember to be quieter.
Lose yourself in the moment.
All right. Peace.
Toodles.
If you would like to contact us, email us at peaceandtoodles@gmail.com. Until next time, salutations, my fellow strangers.
What will they think of next?